minutes. Yeah, those questions ready. Oh man, 10 seconds. Welcome to Solid Saturday.
Yeah, Ty. Daniel. It's good, buddy.
What's up, man? How you doing today?
I'm great. I am excited for this week because we've been looking forward to this week. I'm going to throw some fun stuff on the screen.
Get the graphics on the screen, man.
It's Solid Saturday. We are live from East Lansing, Michigan.
We are. Yep.
As far as you know, because you look a little dark today, Ty. I don't know what's going on. You're always messing with your lights. Give me some.
I haven't done anything. I've done nothing different.
I don't know. You look dark.
In 8 weeks, I've done nothing different.
Bro,
and
if Ty looks dark to you in the comments, come on. Maybe brooding.
Sometimes I show up and my image looks like whiter than Casper the Ghost. And then other times I have not moved anything in 8 weeks. I don't know
what's going on, whether your camera's doing it, Ty. I'm trying to build a successful Saturday morning show brick by brick, and you're the mortar getting in the way, Ty. Come on.
You need the mortar to bind the bricks, Dan. Come on, you know that.
That's true.
You're building a house.
Welcome to Solid Saturday. Ty, you had given it a nickname, had you not? And then did we settle on anything?
So we posted a poll
on
our Twitter account, and there were a couple different options that we gave people. You had posed Stowaway Saturday, Sibling Saturday, and So Prove It Saturday.
Yeah, I hate using so though. That's a cheap way to get an S. But yeah.
And I had said Singlet Saturday.
Yeah. Well, you had another comment before that as well.
I did, and that's where I'm going with this. So, apparently now it is Statement Saturday per ESPN.
Whatever.
ESPN does this thing where they like to use a little alliteration sometimes, and they like to label their Saturdays. We've made it
weird
our own routine now, and we label every Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I said Singlet Saturday. You had your 3. I posted a poll. So Prove It Saturday won. It came in first on the poll. We could only put 4 options.
Yeah.
And then Singlet Saturday came in a close second. We had comments coming into Twitter that it actually should have been Sheryl Crow Saturday. You were ready for that, weren't you?
I was ready. Ty, anytime you want to make a reference, I actually don't know why you had labeled it Sheryl Crow Saturday. I don't remember if because it was like, all I want to do is have some fun. I'm so sorry for this. Or you wanted to soak up the sun of the fading college football season. I don't remember.
I don't remember either, but I said that there are teams that want to soak up the sun. All I want to do is have some fun as a fan. And then we had people in our Twitter all week saying, you should have ran with that, man. That was best.
That was the best.
All right.
I'm so sorry. I am so very sorry.
Sheryl Crow Saturday.
Yeah.
Sheryl Crow Saturday. Whatever it is, we hope that Saturday finds you well. We appreciate you stopping on by. We're going to go through all of the early afternoon and evening slates here momentarily. Yeah. If you scroll down into the description area of this video, if you're watching on a computer or a phone, we have all the links that you need. If you want to subscribe to the podcast, we appreciate that.
Yeah.
We do 3 episodes a week. We're on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get a podcast. You can go to verballers.com if you really like what we do. That's our Patreon, where we offer all of our shows a little early. We have some bonus content as well. On Thursdays, a Q&A show that we put out. And you also get access to our Discord, which is a teeming community of college football fans that is growing by leaps and bounds. And we're just thrilled to have that as part of our repertoire here. And what else do we have? This is solidsaturday.com. I don't really need to promote that any further. Solidverbal.com. We had 3 great articles again this week. Bradley posted something yesterday, best costumes for college football. We also sent that out as part of our newsletter for college football fans. And that people love that. We also have Connor's weekly piece on what games you should watch. We're going to have Connor on here soon, not today, but we have to have him on at some point very soon to talk through his process of putting a slate together and mapping out a day. But the solid slate's available out at solidverbal.com. And we also have to have Travis May on at some point before the season closes out. He does sneaky stats every Tuesday, where he looks at the week that was and looks ahead to some items of interest as we move forward into the week that is to come.
Totally true.
That's all the housekeeping stuff, Dan. Should we dive into week 9, the early slate?
Yes. Sorry, I'm making our names very Halloween-y, if you'll notice.
Rubenstein?
Well, it's Steen, Ty. You've known this forever. And look at yours.
I like that. That gives me a little more gravitas.
We're celebrating. It's Halloween weekend.
I like it. All
right. You want to start with our windows? You want to get into any sort of initial comments, anything like that? Let's get into some windows, Ty, and I guess go from there. We have 3 windows to discuss every Saturday.
I don't know why we still use that graphic, but I don't hate it.
I know. Neither do I. All right. You want to talk early windows?
Talk early windows.
All right. Tell me what you see on the screen and how you're reacting to it.
I see Michigan at Michigan State. That is on Fox. I see Iowa at Wisconsin on ESPN, Texas at Baylor, Miami at Pitt, Virginia Tech at Georgia.
ACC wild card.
Yeah, the ACC wild card. Of those 5 games on the screen right now, which are you most excited about?
The first one, the top 10 matchup. There will be a lot of emotion and energy in East Lansing. It's sort of a game where we'll have to see Michigan attempt to throw the ball downfield. We'll have to see Michigan State try to string together second half drives, which is, we've seen them against some, I don't even know if Indiana is considered to be decent, but the struggle on offense against Indiana, the struggle on offense against Nebraska, it's sort of a something's got to give. Great movie. I think, was that Diane Keaton and Jack Nicholson? I want to say Something's Got to Give Saturday earlier this year.
Yep.
It's a situation where something's got to give, where one of those teams has to really step up. And I think we understand that Michigan State and what they'll be under Mel Tucker, if he's there for a good amount of time, are nowhere near fully formed. And we understand that Cade McNamara isn't necessarily Michigan's hopes and dreams at the quarterback position. But I'm looking forward to the energy in that one.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the Michigan State game. I think it's going to answer questions for us that, frankly, we have not had answered yet. Maybe more so about Michigan than Michigan State. But point spread in that one right now, 4.5 in favor of Michigan. So if you like Michigan State, they're getting some points at home. The Texas Baylor game is really of interest to me because talk about 2 teams that are in some respects polar opposites, right?
Sure.
Baylor is steady Eddie. They're not spectacular at anything, but they're pretty consistently solid. Texas, I think we've seen in some spots, especially in the Oklahoma game, the highs can be really high. The lows can be very frustrating. And so that inconsistency against steady Eddie, Baylor favored by 2.5, that'll be an interesting match as well. And then Pitt, Miami. Yeah. Pitt had a big win last week. Obviously,
it's a letdown spot for both of these teams.
It obviously wasn't as big a win as we thought it would have been in the preseason. If you had told us then that Pitt would.
Did you see Ed Reed's reaction, by the way, to that via Kevin Clark, I believe, of The Ringer?
No.
I'll take this off. So Kevin Clark said something to him like, "Hey, so really big win against NC State last week." And Ed Reed basically did this. He went like he rolled his eyes in an aggressive way, like we're at this point now as a program where beating NC State is a big win for Miami. And it was visually very impressive. Like that he couldn't hide that emotion, even though he was on camera and people were presumably watching. I respected it. Okay. Also, we should mention that we judge our windows in a very specific way on Solid Saturday. And that's, I mean, you'll see right here. There's jacked Chris Fowler. Because
man, that thing is painted on.
It's painted on, and it's hard to find a soft spot in that torso, right?
I mean, it's a jacked Fowler.
Yeah,
that's how the jacked Fowler metric was born.
It could be 5 jacked Fowlers. It could be 3 out of 5 jacked Fowlers. It could be 4 out of 5. It could be as low as 1 out of 5 jacked Fowlers. It's just how excited we are for that window. And so, Ty, as I put this window back up on the screen, could you have a jacked Fowler number in mind?
Man, I think it's 4.
4 jacked Fowlers.
I think it's a 4. The games at the very top of that billing are of incredible intrigue to me. The Michigan State game, the Texas Baylor game. We didn't even mention Iowa-Wisconsin. I'm not expecting that to be an exciting watch, but it is very significant in the Big Ten West, especially for Iowa.
I think it's significant, period, Ty.
Well, okay, sure. So
am I going to watch all of it for 4 hours instead of other action minutes?
No.
But that's okay. I still think it's a big game.
No. Watch the abridged version that they post illegally to YouTube. These here YouTubes tomorrow morning, and you'll be cool. But
more and more, I mean, so the ACC posts like a good length, like 20 to 30 minutes version pretty quickly. And there's another conference that does it. I don't know if it's Big 10 or Big 12, but it's incredibly helpful. It's great.
So anyway, it seems as if I am of like mind with our viewing audience today. 71% of respondents today have answered either 4 or 5 jacked Fowlers. Where are you at?
I think 4 is great. I think you get a top 10 matchup in there with other games you definitely want to watch, which is how I feel about Iowa-Wisconsin, and how I feel about Texas-Baylor. And I think you might be underselling Baylor as Steady Eddie, because yes, it's true that Baylor does not have clear weaknesses, but that's a strength of a team, right? Steady Eddie means just like, okay, they've figured out, they're decent at everything. Like, the fact that they can run the ball like they have, the fact that Gary Bohannon has not just protected the ball, but hit on bigger plays to Tyquan Thornton, especially the fact that the offensive line is competent for the most part after where it was these past couple years, and the abuse, obviously, Charlie Brewer took behind the line of different shapes and forms. And then defensively, right, they're not giving up big plays. They're rushing the passer pretty well. And the concern with Texas is sort of high ceiling, low floor. High ceiling with the explosion early on in games, Bijan Robinson, Xavier Worthy, whoever, but then also the disappearing acts, the 3 and outs. I think they had like 11, 12, 13, 3 or 4 and outs really quickly in 2 weeks. And the tackling issues that Texas still very much has on all 3 levels. It keeps everybody in games against Texas, which is, I'm sure, a nightmare of a TV show if you're a Horn fan. So I'm quite excited for this one.
The only other factoid that I'll throw out here is that the Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech game, I think right now it's Georgia Tech favored by 4.
Okay.
Which is an interesting line. I get it. It still feels a little bit to me like Vegas knows something that the rest of us don't.
I mean, they've watched Virginia Tech games. That
perhaps.
And Braxton Burmeister still seems to be beat up. And the game is in Atlanta, right?
It's in Atlanta.
Georgia Tech's been scoring. Jeff Sims has been hitting downfield some. Jahmyr Gibbs has played well. The defense has come to play sometimes. Like, you talk about Steady Eddie, Georgia Tech, I think is this. They fall under, I think, your plucky meter.
They're very plucky. Oh, extreme pluck.
I think they definitely
so much pluck. Yeah.
Okay. Any other action that's not listed on the graphic that you wanted to talk about in the early window? I think Indiana, Maryland is happening somewhere in there.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got the big ones. Some of the other ones that I might call out. It's not technically the early window. It's sort of an in-betweener, but the Iowa State, West Virginia game.
Yeah, I have that on the next graphic. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really into Iowa State the rest of the way.
Right.
And so for me, that's a game that I'm going to be paying pretty close attention to. But no, I think we got the headliner. Should we do some comments?
Yeah, let's get to the comments section. What do
we got today?
we always have some energy coming in the comments. All right. Oh man, more clips of trouble with the snap during the broadcast or Michigan State touchdowns. Obviously, trouble with the snap in reference to the failed Michigan punt that ended the game, and we had the surrender cobra.
Yeah.
Big house. Michigan State touchdowns. I don't know what I'm thinking. It would surprise me if Michigan State had more than 3 touchdowns in this game.
I think it's going to be relatively low scoring. The reason that I like Michigan State in the game is because, as we talked about on our previous show, I think their offense has proven a little bit more adaptable, and they play better competition. We've just seen them in higher quality games, more high quality games than we have Michigan. Doesn't mean Michigan isn't going to go to East Lansing and drill them. I mean, that's entirely possible, but we just have not seen that side of Michigan to feel confident in saying it. So Michigan State getting 4.5 at home, 4.5, that's a nice number if you're a bettor, because it's, 3, 4, and 7 are pretty instrumental in the game of football. And so 4.5 with that little hook, I don't know. If you're betting, picking that game from a betting standpoint, Michigan State makes a lot of sense.
Does it bother you that 70% of the money is on Michigan State, and yet
absolutely,
from 4
absolutely, yeah.
Did you bet American dollars on this?
I did.
And how are you feeling?
Michigan State. I feel very good about that pick, but I, compared to some of the other picks that I have, I don't feel as confident about that one, but I still felt confident enough to roll with it.
Virginia Tech has been cheeks, and I appreciate the illusion right there. I like it. We have a true Big Ten snooze fest. We got people mixed on that game. Ty, would you rather be called cute or pretty? Trevor wants to know.
Probably pretty.
I'm a cute guy.
Yeah.
I'm a cute guy. A cute to me says he's got upside. Base level, he's cute. Pretty might mean I'm soft, right? That he's a pretty
that's
boy.
A good point.
I don't know.
I've never really thought about an answer to that question, but
yeah.
I don't think I relate or would want to relate to being called a pretty boy.
Yeah, you don't strike me as a pretty boy type.
That does imply softness, so I might change my answer.
Clemson fan says Miami Pitt is going to be a crappy game, and sometimes it's good to turn to the experts. And if a Clemson fan is zeroing in on an ACC game
that's how
that looks unappealing.
What about Tyler Van Dyke, man?
Yeah, I mean, look, they beat NC State, and there's
TVD?
I don't think it's a letdown for Miami as much as it's probably a letdown for Pitt, because it just probably still feels great to beat Clemson, even if it's a down Clemson team.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be chaotic. I think Miami Pitt's going to be chaotic, and if it's not, it's not. Big Ten West, Minnesota wins out. They're in the Big Ten title game, despite all the things that you've been saying about the Gophers. Sky Ma.
Yeah. It kind of snuck up on us, didn't it?
It did a bit. Here we go. How about this? Because we talked about Baylor-Texas. Who gets a new head coaching job first? Dave Aranda or Jeff Grimes?
Wow. Probably Aranda?
I think it's Aranda.
It's got to be Aranda, right? There's more of a body of work there.
Yeah, I suppose. The thing is, I think Jeff Grimes is probably being considered for Texas Tech, though something tells me it's more of a Jeff Traylor and Sonny Dykes conversation in Lubbock at this moment. But no, I don't think Jeff Grimes' profile, despite everything that we've tried to do. And yes, I know what we did to Kirk Shiraka, and I'm sorry. But I think Jeff Grimes' profile will come up.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah.
All right.
You would assume.
Do you want to get to the second window? We have we have Baylor fans in here.
Let's do it. Let's go afternoon slate.
I'm trying to see. Oh, hold on. We got the Wisconsin-Iowa ritual continues today as always. And so it is. And so it is. Does a team in that matchup, Wisconsin-Iowa, get to 27 points?
No, come on. Does a team get to 20 points?
And your answer is
20-17. Somebody wins.
Okay, so
but only 220.
The 20s Plenty Bowl.
That's correct.
2020 is good and plenty. Halloween theme. What happened to our names? Did you take them off?
I
Or does it?
have no controls.
Oh,
You must
okay.
have done that.
Oh, there they are. They just come off when the YouTube comment comes up. All right. We're going to go to the second window, the afternoon window.
Second window. All right.
Here it
Here's what we
is.
got. We got. Thank you, Dan, for enlightening us with a little Cheryl. Iowa State at West Virginia. Wazoo at Arizona State. Those games are at 2 and 3 Eastern, respectively. Yep. The big one is Georgia, Florida, the cocktail party. That's on CBS starting at 3:30. Texas Tech without Matt Wells on the road at Oklahoma. That's at 3:30 on ABC. And then Florida State, Clemson, Dan. I don't know, maybe a little like Inigo Montoya there.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
Yeah.
Who killed my father.
There's been some ugliness.
Prepare to die.
After years of punishment from the Clemson Tigers, Florida State, I don't know if they beat Clemson. I wouldn't rule it out. They're about a 10-point dog at the moment on the road. But interested in seeing how that one goes down. If only because Clemson benched its quarterback a week ago. Who are we going to see this week? What's it going to look like? That a lot remains to be seen. We need to talk about Georgia, Florida, though. That's clearly the showpiece of the afternoon slate, probably the whole weekend. The cocktail party has a ton of significance. I think it's meaningful that Georgia is the number one team in the country. Florida is unranked, yet most of the projections that I have seen only put that one as about a 7 to 10 point game. The point spread right now is about 14 and a half, depending where you look. So if you trust the projections, there is potential upside there on Florida plus the number. You don't necessarily buy that, if memory serves, because you like Georgia's defense more than almost anything in college football right now. Right. And we have seen Georgia's defense up against some pretty good offenses, right? They shut out Arkansas. They held Auburn to 10 points. They've held plenty of teams down. Right. So is Florida different? If so, why? If not, why?
Florida's different because of Dan Mullen and some of the skill talent. I still like their backs. I think their offensive line has been improved, or at least pretty good this year. I like their receivers. I like some speed. I like that the results that we've seen from Florida at times this year, it's still looking back pretty far, relatively speaking, to the Alabama game and the results since, the performance against Kentucky, the performance against LSU. It should scare Gator fans, especially with the matchup of Georgia just trying to possess the ball and slowly wring the life out of you with the W, wring the life out of you. And Florida's defense's inability to get off the field with the talented backs, just one after the other. The Florida offense, I'm not terribly worried about. Like, I think they have a ceiling, but I'm also pretty confident that if Florida is that team to keep it relatively close and make Georgia earn it for 4 full quarters, it's because Dan Mullen has a terrific game plan. It's because he puts both Emory Jones and Anthony Richardson in a position to win and is able to ugly it up and limit Georgia possessions and keep the defense on the field, convert those 3rd and 3s, whatever. But over 4 quarters, I just haven't seen anything recently from Florida that tells me this is the team. I've seen Dan Mullen game plans.
Well, hold on, pause.
Yeah.
What about the Alabama game?
Well, what has he done since the Alabama game, right?
Okay.
Did he build on the Alabama game? Did Dan Mullen beat teams that he is more talented than, presumably, like Kentucky and LSU?
No,
he did not. And so that to me is why not. That to me is if Dan Mullen were locked in as a game planner and offensive mind, and look, they put a ton of yards and points on LSU, but they couldn't figure things out on defense. And so that's also on Dan Mullen to look at his own defense and say, what are we doing? How are we adjusting? How are we fixing? And Todd Grantham and Dan Mullen is not the combination to adjust and fix this season on defense. So for that reason, I like Georgia covering here. I don't have a good enough reason because Florida doesn't have a guy at quarterback clearly right now. So I'm going with Georgia to cover this one.
I'm going to post as another poll here. So 3 Jack Fowlers was the winner. I'm going to post.
I'm with that. Yeah.
As a poll question here. Do you like Georgia minus the number, or do you like Florida plus 14.5? And just see where our viewing audience is at the moment, because that's a very interesting question to me. It's a big number. It took a lot of people by surprise. Georgia is getting into that category like Alabama, right? Where you look at the point spread, you feel, man, that's really too high. And then we do our recap show on Sundays, and it's like, man, that was really low, wasn't it? Like we should have known better. So you could definitely play it both ways with both Georgia and Alabama at this point. Can you? Yeah, thank you. Put that.
Is
back
there a
up
game
there.
that if Georgia Florida is out of hand, or it's just not a fun watch, that you are immediately going to flip to, and in hopes that it's better?
Of those games that are up there, I'm really interested in Florida State Clemson. Excuse me.
Yep.
I'm supremely interested in that. I don't expect it to be high-level football. Both teams are obviously doing their part to build some momentum and work towards 2022 at this point. That's what this game's
Clemson's
about.
doing its part.
Well, it's become the new focus for the
breaking
season.
News sound?
No, they're not doing their part yet. They lost a week ago.
Right.
But you get my point.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested in that game. Iowa State, West Virginia. Like Iowa State should win that game. Iowa State's played better throughout the month of October. It still is Brocktober.
Has handled West Virginia well recently, yeah.
They've handled West Virginia well recently, but I still don't fully trust them. Like even though I'm into Iowa State.
What don't you trust about Iowa State?
What I don't trust about Iowa State is the body of work thus far. Thus far, they've had a lot of dumb mistakes. Not so much in October. They've gotten better. They've kind of iron that out.
Brock Purdy's something like 12-2, I believe, in Brocktober.
Yeah, they've certainly gotten better, and they've cleaned up some of the issues, but special teams still liability. Like they've got flaws. They're not perfect. And you go on the road to West Virginia. We've seen other teams go there and lose. Right. And then the Texas Tech Oklahoma game, to me, we said this on the podcast, Dan, and I think you agreed with me. Caleb Williams has looked the real deal since coming in. There is no denying he has given that Oklahoma offense a spark. Oklahoma is a very good football team.
Agreed.
He is still a first-time starting quarterback.
Is Oklahoma a very good football team?
Yes.
Or
in 2021,
spurts of having a very good offense. I apologize for the word spurts.
Yes, they're a very good football team.
Okay. And Kansas kind of took them to the wire last week.
They're a very good football team.
Yeah.
They're a very good football team. And in 2021, having those spurts on offense makes you a very good football team.
Yeah.
All right. It's provided you're not shooting yourself in the foot. That also elevates you to being a pretty good football team. And I think now that they've got Caleb Williams in there, they're a little bit more, impervious to those mistakes. They have been. That doesn't mean they will continue to be with a true freshman starting quarterback. And that's my point.
Right.
At some point, Oklahoma is going to have a big time clunker. Maybe it was last week against Kansas. I don't know.
Say they were down.
Maybe that's the
Kansas.
mother of all clunkers.
Yeah.
But I think it's an interesting proposition. Again, from a betting standpoint, not from a pure win-loss standpoint, to just take the points against Oklahoma every week. Just to say that you have it when it goes down. Because at some point, that play where Caleb Williams rips the ball out of Kennedy Brooks' hands, at some point that ain't going to work.
Right.
And it's going to be disastrous. So I expect that there will be close calls for Oklahoma at some point down the road here. Don't know if it's going to be this week against Tech without a coach, but I'm interested in seeing how both teams respond in that situation.
Texas Tech 5-3, by the way. I understand that records, 2/3 of the way in aren't necessarily telling the full story, but 5-3, and I believe the most improved points per drive offense in the Big 12. Not saying they're a good team. I'm saying they have more life than Kansas.
Yeah.
Well, it's reasonable enough.
I think that's fair. By the way, 62% of our respondents today are on Georgia minus 14.5.
What number was that?
62%.
All right. Georgia 5-2 covering the spread this year. Oklahoma 3-5. So Vegas doesn't quite have a great handle on Georgia, but a little overinflation with the Oklahoma Sooners right now.
I am on with American dollars, Florida plus 14.5, FYI.
How do you feel about that?
I feel very good about
betting
that.
Against the Georgia defense.
I feel very good about that bet.
Okay. Is it more pro Florida or more sense of the general tenor of the game, you feel like it's going to be a low-scoring, minimal possession type game?
I feel like we've seen Dan Mullen now in a couple games really come to play. There's a little bit of an Oregon complex going on there where they get up for the really big games and then let their guard down against everybody else.
LSU is a big game. By the way, Florida 3-4 against the spread this season. So
LSU's been a big game in the past.
I mean, it's still important for the Florida Gators to beat the LSU Tigers, sir.
Games of pure national significance like this one.
Okay.
He will be fired up. In a rivalry game, he will have that team fired up. There will be an effective game plan. And I'm not saying they're going to score 35 points on Georgia. Far from it. But 14.5 is a big number. It's a really big number. So, yeah, I feel good about that one.
3 jacked Fowlers is what we agreed on once again. Here's the full image of the jacked Fowler. But yeah, 3 jacked Fowlers is fine. All right, you want to get to some comments and
let's do it. Yeah.
Thoughts and
what do we got?
People, a lot of emotion happening right now.
I see it.
How many FBS teams would you say are incapable of putting up a 9-minute touchdown drive against Oklahoma? Oh man, well, so
incapable.
Not Southern Miss.
Incapable.
By the way, have you noticed Southern Miss was, I believe, a first-year head coach, and I think it's Will Hall. Historically inept offense.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's like, really bad.
Noticeably worse than the lowest of recent Northwestern. Lower than that. So
how many teams are incapable of putting together a 9-minute
20
drive?
to 25 teams. But I think the top 100 can mount a long drive where it's 3rd and 8 and like up, Oklahoma jumped off sides. Like up, Oklahoma has decided to extend.
Yeah,
probably.
The thing about Oklahoma's defense,
mm-hmm.
all they need is marginal improvement. They don't need to be Georgia.
I don't know
marginal
if
improvement
during
they go
the
undefeated.
season.
They go undefeated.
It's
marginally better.
Okay. Dan, a little too happy to see us lose. Appears we have a Clemson player in the comments. I'm not. I do enjoy a sad, angry Dabo on the sideline. There is something that I think America in a very split time can get behind with seeing an angry, sad Dabo on the sideline. But no, I don't want Clemson to lose. College football is better when teams are not inept on offense. I miss watching a good Clemson TV show.
I am not rooting for anybody to lose. We do a national show. We can't root for everybody to lose, at least not publicly.
No, I just want competence and entertainment.
But I will say this.
Clemson has denied us that.
I will say this to our commenter here. Clemson not being a world beater has definitely made for a more interesting conversation. After 5 years of them being just bulletproof?
Yeah.
To now having some serious flaws very quickly.
Yeah.
Nobody expected that. No. And so forgive us if we're a little bit overeager to talk about that storyline because it's just still kind of novel to us. I still don't fully believe it. It's incredible.
There are more ACC games now that have meaning and interest to us. That's great. That's a win. Ken P emerging alpha in the comment section. It's going to look like Florida will cover until the start of the fourth quarter, and then it will fall apart, just like pot roast in a crock pot. I
do have the sound. I can play it. You need to go to Aggie Jason, though. He did one of those super chats.
Yeah.
And asked a question about Jimbo.
Oh, he has a super question. Okay, we'll get to Steven in a minute, who does not like the fact that we open our mouths in pictures. I don't know. Come on, Steven. Aggie, Jason, what are the chances that Jimbo goes to LSU, or will he use the leverage to extort even more money out of A&M? I do not anticipate Jimbo to LSU. I do not think it's a serious thing. I think he has everything he wants at A&M, and as we've seen, LSU, while an excellent job, why would you leave a place who keeps giving you raises for doing nothing? I mean, they finished outside of the playoff last year. He hasn't developed a quarterback he's recruited yet. They've looked uneven this year, although crazy impressive on defense, especially up front. And he's making a ton of money, has everything he wants, has good facilities.
Is ranches? Does he have ranches?
Plural. I understand the appeal of LSU, that it is a bigger job. It is a national championship job in the way that Texas A&M has never been. But I think he's got it good enough at A&M where I don't think the difference is all that significant. And I also think he knows that he'll coach in College Station for basically as long as he wants.
Yeah.
Whereas LSU, I think it's going to be trickier. I get the appeal. I for sure get the appeal. I think he's staying in College Station.
I agree. Good question, Jason. Thank you. Thank you for
All
the
right.
super chat. Appreciate that.
Most amount of apathy I've seen for a Husker game since I've been a fan. No one cares. Is Nebraska playing today?
Nebraska's playing Purdue.
Purdue. Somebody asked us in our Brew and A if Nebraska loses to Purdue, is that sort of nail in the coffin for Scott Frost?
The nail,
depending on the buyout math,
the nail may already be in the coffin.
Sure.
This might just be one that they want to drive in publicly,
right?
Because look, we saw it at the start of the year with the Scott Frost thing. There are clearly calls coming from inside the house to get rid of Scott Frost. It's not all just public pressure. And so, yeah, loss to Purdue would be bad. I like the idea of Scott Frost more than I have the actual on-field product from Scott Frost, because when he came in, given what he did at Oregon, what he did in his limited time at UCF, I think we were all rightfully expecting that he was going to very quickly build up some sort of pyrotechnic offense.
Right.
And that just hasn't materialized. And I don't know if it's a Scott Frost thing. I don't know if it's just that he's sticking with Adrian Martinez and hasn't gotten anybody better. I don't know what it is, but in my view, I think as long as Adrian Martinez is quarterback, it's not going to get immeasurably better. And we probably already too deep into this thing for a great turnaround story with a new quarterback coming in and Scott Frost getting that opportunity to build from a blank slate. Like,
sure.
I think patience has worn thin, and it sucks for him. It sucks for Nebraska because I genuinely want Nebraska to be a much better program than they are, to help balance out the Big Ten and maybe be more of a presence on the Western side of the Big Ten. I'm not buying that it's going to go down at this point. They might have to move on and go in a different direction.
I think we have a San Diego State fan in the comments because somebody commented, strongly disagree with the statement, games are better without inept offenses. If you're a San Diego State fan,
it's true. It is true.
Counterpoint. Sometimes offenses aren't fun, and sometimes everybody likes defense. Sincerely, go Aztecs. Or I don't know who would that fit. Who would most strongly disagree? Like a Michigan fan, maybe. I mean, Hassan Haskins and Blake Corum have been fun at times this year.
Yeah.
Who would be the team? I mean,
Iowa,
but Iowa, sure.
Iowa. You got some contenders in the Big Ten. Penn State might throw its hat in the ring.
Sure. Mackenzie, what is with this persistent idea that Georgia has no offense? You know, people have been talking about Georgia doesn't have the offense.
Have we said that?
Florida. No, I think it's just like people are saying. I don't know.
Oh, I don't buy that at all.
You know what I think it is? Okay, so I think we're on the same page here. Georgia's defense is so good that anything else associated with Georgia kind of pales in comparison. And because Stetson Bennett isn't putting up gaudy numbers, because they don't have a clear star receiver or star running back in the way that other places do, there's this idea that Georgia's ball control and Georgia's not flashy, but they get the job done. I don't know are there Ladd McConkey super fans out there? I don't know. Brock Bowers has been a really good story. I can actually tell you though, Ty, right now, I'll bring up Georgia's numbers, the underlying numbers, situation and opponent adjusted. Okay. They're the number 6 success rate team. So it's sort of success in keeping ahead of the change offense in the country. They're the number 17 team in the country in terms of explosive play rate. On standard downs, they're 14th in the nation. In the red zone, on third down, they are the number 2 team in the country at avoiding third and long. In the red zone, they're merely okay. They don't take sacks. They don't allow pressures. I don't know. I think everybody would love to have a quarterback in Stetson Bennett who's completing 70% of his passes. His adjusted net yards per attempt, 13.2.
Wow.
11 touchdowns to 2 picks as a backup quarterback.
Quarterback. I mean, and
they're in a good place offensively.
That's the thing. And I think you answered correctly. It's a good question. I don't buy the fact that Georgia doesn't have offense at all. It's just the defense is historic right now. If you
Sure.
read some of the same numbers, and I think on Twitter you posted some contextual information around the Georgia defense and where
Yeah.
it stands historically, but I mean, we were potentially looking at the best defense of all time, and it's just
Right.
hard not to talk about that, despite the fact that all those numbers you read are incredible. Any team in the nation would take those. So, good question. I don't buy into that logic at all, Mackenzie.
By the way, Mackenzie plays flanker. She's a flanker for Georgia,
Okay.
which is great to have Mackenzie Hayes here because Mackenzie in Georgia averaging 38 points. By the way, I just like this. I heart Dan's Dave Aranda voice too.
Dave Aranda.
And to those of you tuning in just now, you should know, by the way, that this is Sheryl Crow Saturday. It is
decided.
once again Sheryl Crow Saturday.
We made
So
the decision, yeah.
we did make that official decision. Do you want to go to night games, Ty?
Let's go to night games as I type in the next poll.
Okay.
Why don't you read them off as I do this?
Oh, sorry. I have to take off the comment of the Dave Aranda voice. Ole Miss, number 10 in the country, traveling to the Plains to take on number 18 Auburn. That's going to be on ESPN. Number 12 Kentucky, quietly number 12. And I thought they played decently, and that's all relative, against Georgia on the road at Mississippi State, which who knows who the hell Mississippi State is, but they are not a team to keep it close against Alabama. SMU at Houston, one of the largest G5 matchups of the year, one of the biggest matchups of the day. SMU coming in as an undefeated top 20 program. Houston bringing a very strong defense to the table against the Stangs. Number 20 Penn State. Are they a top 20 team? Some say no. Taking on Ohio State.
Was that a Greg McElroy voice? Did I catch a Greg McElroy in there?
Not intentionally. No, not intentionally. And then North Carolina at Notre Dame. Notre Dame is ranked. I don't know why I didn't put their ranking in there. Maybe that was a subtle shot.
That's fine.
You.
That's fine. That's fine.
Should also mention it did not make the graphic, but San Diego State, Fresno State is quite interesting. San Diego State's defense against Fresno State's offense, I think, is going to be a very fun matchup. If you are the type of person who can stay up extremely late, I believe that's at 10:30 or 10:15, somewhere in there. It's on our ticker. It's a late kick. So if you are that type of person,
you know what I've been doing? I told
Good
you
on
what
you.
I've been doing at night
what's that?
for these games. I've been taking a nap during the night slate, waking up for the end of the night slate if I'm lucky, and then staying up for the late games and doing our notes and getting ready for the Sunday morning show that we do.
Right. All right. That's good for you.
Put
It's
that graphic back up.
Which one? The night moves?
Yeah, all the night moves.
Okay.
So 3 Jack Fowlers.
So stupid.
3 Jack Fowlers per our viewing audience.
Oh,
I
okay.
agree. I've got Auburn -2.5. I've got Mississippi State -1.5. And I've got Notre Dame -3.5. I pondered Ohio State -19.5, but that's just too much.
That's
still
too many
think-
points.
No, I still think they're going to win, and I still think they're going to cover. But just as a practical matter, I don't want to put any American dollars on that because that's a
Give
big
me a
number.
reason.
For not wanting to put money on it, or why I think it's.
Penn State keeping this under whatever 18, 19 points.
I don't think they will. I think they're going to get creamed.
But just in terms of value for your hard-earned dollars.
It's just too much to actually venture real American cash on. But I'll say this: Penn State has not had a running game all year, so there's no complement to whatever passing attack they might have this week. And
attack.
Thank you. I appreciate the air quotes because Sean Clifford did not look good.
No.
Did not look good a week ago. He still looks hurt. I think he'll play again. Hopefully he looks a little bit better. But in the absence of any kind of passing attack with him, in the absence of a rushing attack, I don't know how they're scoring points. Ohio State's getting better every week. They're playing at home. And oh, by the way, there are rumors swirling, the drumbeat getting louder with each passing moment, that James Franklin, quote, may not be happy in State College and may be looking elsewhere, be it USC, be it LSU, if they would take him, be it anywhere. I don't know. Maybe Lubbock at this point. So I just think there's so much working against Penn State. I would never in a million years want to bet, plus whatever against Ohio State, a team that is clearly trending in a much better direction.
Oh man, I might have to pull some of these choice sound bites if Penn State pulls the upset, excuse me. Oh man, it is rough. No, I think you're right. That the collapse potential right now it's in the orange. If there's a collapse meter,
it's there. I think it's there.
The problem is Penn State's a half team. That's the reality of it. The defense did more than enough against Illinois, even though they gave up the yardage that they did on the ground. If you hold a sorry Illinois program this year to 10 points,
anybody to 10
more
points.
than enough. What?
If you hold anybody to 10 points.
If you hold anybody to 10 points, that defense has done more than enough. We have people talking about lamb and the degree, the literal like temperature degree. You should cook lamb internally. Of course, Cole's involved in that conversation. And then we have creepy mascot talk going in there.
Okay.
If there were a mascot version of Ty and a mascot version of Dan, so like caricature costume versions of us.
Is somebody asking this or are you asking this?
This is just me. I think I would be creepier. I think I have more specific aesthetics that would make me creepier, where I just think you would look like, I think you're an FCS level mascot. I think there's nothing that stands out about you. You're just a handsome guy.
I think I might look like Buddy from Nebraska, only with different color hair. Like if you gave me that face, I think that would work.
Okay. I mean, there's a little bit eyebrows are pronounced.
There's a little bit of a creep factor there, but not much. He's inflatable and he's fun.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. I don't know what I would peg you as.
Oh, I'm not saying I look like a specific one. I'm just saying if somebody were to create a mascot costume out of our looks.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
this is an extremely weird conversation, Dan. Thank you for making it part of our solid Saturday.
Shout out David Hatfield, premium for baller here. I'm rooting for a strong early window today as my daughter is getting married.
Hey,
apparently
congratulations.
My presence is required. Come on, David. Look, we're assuming David's getting that father-daughter dance.
Yeah.
We're assuming he either spoke at the rehearsal dinner or is going to speak tonight. He's got time to talk about how much he loves that his daughter's relationship is now a lifelong pursuit. This is so great.
Yeah.
We're rooting for you. Here, look at this. Cheers to the David Hatfield family wedding. How about that?
We'll cheers with Khaleesi. I don't have anything here with me.
Sure.
You've given speeches at weddings. I've given speeches at weddings. Do we have any tips for now? We've obviously never done so from the father's perspective, but do you have any tips on wedding speeches?
By the way, I am going to embarrass my children so much when I am allowed to give a wedding speech. I just pray that they get married. I have some time. I've got like 20 plus years. Keep it shorter than you think. It's okay to embarrass your kid. Don't get hung up about your own experience. Like, I remember when you were 3. I remember when you were 7. I remember when you were a 12. Talk about why you were so excited for this relationship. You were there celebrating the relationship. You can be funny, but don't be 11 minutes funny. A few minutes, celebrate the relationship. Cheers.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at the text of your speech and you're wondering, is this joke going to land? Just assume no, they never do. Most of the time they never do, unless it's like a really poignant or funny story.
Yeah.
They never land for a live audience the way you would think. Trust me, I've tried at live shows and at weddings. So I would say ditch that if you're at all on the fence about the joke funniness. But otherwise, keep it short, keep it simple, keep it sentimental, and you'll be fine. He didn't ask any of these questions, but we're just
no, not at all. And dance, just dance, man. Get after it on the dance floor. Some of us plan to stay up for Virginia BYU. Long time for baller.
What up, Will?
First of all, Will, definitely not even an emerging alpha, an alpha.
We met Will.
Ballers. We met Will in Minnesota, I believe, right? I mean, at the brewery in Minneapolis. I think this is gonna be a hell of a game. Now, you are going to have to stay up. And on that note, this is a bit of a body clock matchup, right?
Virginia traveling cross country.
It's a 10:15 Eastern kick.
Yep.
So I don't know when Virginia got to Provo. It's not only body clock, but it's also a team pulling into the elevation station. I don't know if you have that sound at the ready, but
I do not.
That's a double whammy. I can't wait for this game. We have two just horrid defenses at times squaring off with good quarterbacks, especially Virginia's. Brennan Armstrong has been quite strong, and I think this is going to be an entertaining game that I watch at 6:08 Central Time Sunday morning, because that is not who I am. But that's okay. I hope that you are, because staying up late and watching football, if you have the energy and you have the willpower, it's super fun. It's super fun. I just don't have it in me. I'm old and washed.
Put that graphic back up. Let's close the loop.
Which one?
On our night moves.
Oh, okay.
So the audience said 3 Jack Fowlers. They're moderately excited for this. Where are you at?
Oh, I'm at 4.
Yeah, I think I'm at 4 as well.
I'm definitely at 4. And we haven't even talked about SMU-Houston. We didn't really mention North Carolina-Notre Dame. We sort of stayed hung up on Ohio State-Penn State. We haven't talked about Ole Miss-Auburn, really. We haven't talked about any of this action at night. So my big screen is going to start with Ole Miss-Auburn. My little screen will have Penn State-Ohio State. And I say that because of Penn State's offense. I think there is a bigger entertainment factor with Ole Miss-Auburn. And I just am of the mind that Ohio State's going to beat Penn State. Eventually, they'll have a big third quarter, fourth quarter, and it's going to be something like 38-13, 38-17. I don't know.
So one question that came up in the chat here from Nick.
Yeah.
On the topic of the Ohio State game. I don't know if you've got that in front of you, but this is something that you had discussed with me, and you implied, I don't know.
You said it was Nick?
Nick with the H.
Yeah.
You had implied earlier in the week, and I don't know if it was on the podcast, that perhaps you were not quote unquote there with Ohio State.
Oh, because they were beating up on fun size opponents, not the full size candy bar of teams.
Right.
Halloween. I just think that's a consideration. I think it's a consideration, but I'm also of the mind that strong teams perform strongly against everybody that they should. And maybe that's, our Notre Dame and Oregon and Penn State glasses talking here, that we root for teams, and we've seen teams across the board, top 10 teams, top 15 teams, right? The Michigan schools sneaking by Nebraska. And I think Nebraska's fine. But if we're truly talking about top 10 schools, you beat Nebraska by 10, 13 points. Oregon with their struggles to separate. Notre Dame with their struggles to separate. Oklahoma with its struggles to separate against multiple teams. Again, we said 3-5 against the spread, correct? So I have even more respect this season for teams taking care of business when they should.
Yeah.
But I do doubt the fun size stretch.
Yeah. I think the circling the drain possibility on the Penn State side is going to be very evident in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And that will far outweigh any issues that you have trusting Ohio State. But could be wrong about that.
How you feeling, Notre Dame? By the way, Aggie Jason here. My wife tore her ACL playing air guitar.
That's a hell of a way to go down, though.
That's tough. I don't know the move specifically that would do it, but maybe it's like the bend back, I don't know.
Maybe it's trying to put the leg up to play
Shout
the
out
guitar.
to Aggie Jason's wife, though, because we are a show, if nothing else, we're a show that respects commitment to the bit.
Commit to the bit.
Your all, and you get it.
And a non-contact injury at a wedding is definitely something.
That's right. Non-contact is tough. I have a question for you, just because it was in our night window. Is this a potential Inigo Montoya matchup for North Carolina? Was a big spot for them last season, tie game at halftime, and then they get, I believe, shut out in the second half.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
Is a more vulnerable Notre
Dame. You killed
Dame
my father.
Yeah.
Prepare to die.
Yes and no. It's a potential revenge game because of the factors that you laid out there.
Right.
I don't think that they beat Notre Dame.
Okay.
Travis May put together in his sneaky stats column on Tuesday a stat that Sam Howell has accounted for 72.2% of the North Carolina offense so far this year. They're very one-dimensional, and it's pretty much on the back of Sam Howell. They do have players, right? They can run the ball a little bit. Mm-hmm. Josh Downs is a good receiver. Like, they have guys, but they have not put it all together yet, and they haven't been particularly good on defense. I see this game being one that is high scoring. I think it's high scoring, and I think, again, much the case last week, I think Notre Dame can run the ball on North Carolina. So I think it's high scoring. I think Notre Dame outscores them. I think it ends up being something like 41-27, 41-31, somewhere in that neighborhood. But I don't see North Carolina going to South Bend and beating Notre Dame, because I do think Notre Dame is seeing some improvement. Now, the one thing that I will throw out there is that Kyle Hamilton's not playing. And even though we saw it just like a bite-sized quantity a week ago without him being on the field. It will be interesting to see how Sam Howell attacks the Notre Dame secondary. I happen to think they're deep enough that they're going to be okay. And so that's part of why I think I said or should have said I'm on Notre Dame -3.5. I think Notre Dame wins that game. I think they're able to control the point of attack and they control time of possession. They keep it relatively simple and they win that game and score a lot of points. But I understand the logic. I'm just not totally there.
Jack Cohn is not an 11-1 quarterback. Smother me in baby blue. I'm going North Carolina. Right? They're the likeliest loss.
They're the likeliest loss.
Georgia Tech, Stanford, Virginia.
But so here's the thing. Okay. Yeah. I take that point. I'm with you. One of these days, we're going to see more of Tyler Buchner. One of these days.
Okay.
And I think this would be a really good week for Notre Dame to mix in some of those running concepts, some of that RPO stuff, because if anybody is susceptible to it, it's North Carolina. Buchner can do that in a way that Cohn can't. So if you look at the box score tomorrow morning at 6:08 Central Time, and you see that Tyler Buchner had something like 12 passing attempts and 95 yards on the ground, it'll be exactly what I'm describing now. I think there is an opportunity here for them to use him in a way that they haven't this season.
I'm still concerned about Notre Dame's offense. And
totally fair.
I think if you don't show me the Notre Dame portion of the scoreboard and the number next to North Carolina is 34, I think Notre Dame loses.
Okay, totally fair. Totally fair.
Yeah, definitely smother me in baby blue. I'm feeling good about this all of a sudden. I don't know why. It's in South Bend, and North Carolina has not been especially impressive this year.
I love that this game's at night, too. They're going to make me stay up for this one. But
that's right.
That's neither here nor there. We've got 5 minutes until kickoff, Dan.
Oh, okay.
Let's go to comments. Let's rip through comments.
We get Dan saying smother me in baby blue as a kept soundbite.
Yes.
Please, no.
Yes.
I don't know what the minutes before football starts are longer than other minutes, like microwave oven minutes. Good call, Rink Needs. That's good call. Are the sword fights better in Princess Bride or Star Wars? Not swords technically in Star Wars.
They're light swords. Yeah, they're light swords. It has to be Star Wars because the lightsabers make that. They don't make that sound.
There's an analog quality to the old saber type swords in Princess Bride. Cling, clang, cling, clang. Little Alan Ladd action.
Yeah.
The song being played. I was a witness. Oh, this is in reference to something else. Okay, how about this? Utah, UCLA, Pac-12 South supremacy. What's up, Sam? What's good?
Utah?
I got a text from somebody who would know.
Okay.
That said, DTR is like a gust of wind away from falling apart physically.
Okay.
And that's a bummer to me because the best of DTR is quite fun to watch. I'm going to go with Utah here. Elevation Station. I'm going to take things out of context these last couple minutes. Just get like a good meatball sub.
Yeah. For lunch?
If any sandwich has I think the most average meatball sub is still incredible. I love meatball parms, meatball subs, whatever. I think it's the best version of I think a meatball sub is better than meatballs on spaghetti. I think it's better than a meatball on pizza, better than a meatball appetizer. I think on a crispy but soft on the inside meatball hoagie type sandwich with a little brown mozzarella cheese, whatever. I think it's one of the best things we've done as a species.
Quick story on that.
It's a perfect food.
McClanahan's up at Penn State.
Yeah.
One of the popular establishments down on College Avenue and elsewhere.
Yeah.
They would do they make a great meatball sub. They would do a thing every now and again. I forget exactly how much it was, but it was like $1 or $2 for maybe like an 8-inch, 6-inch meatball sub. And, every now and again, you get some pissed off worker who had to thaw out the meatballs and it would take a while, but it was cost effective. Mm-hmm. It was delightful. And it's really making me hungry for a meatball sub. So thank you to this commenter.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why. And Volusius Orange, I know I've made fun of you for saying we with Clemson. I love you, and I love that you watch the show and you feel passionately about college football. And the fact that you brought meatball sub conversation to Solid Saturday It's such an incredible moment. If a meatball sub is wrapped in foil and like maybe has that like butcher paper, whatever element to it as well, and then it's in that sandwich sleeve, not a bag, but a sandwich sleeve.
Yeah.
For some reason, it tastes 20% better than it would otherwise.
You're a sleeve guy like Allen Iverson.
I love meatball subs.
We're going to isolate that sound too, by the way.
I don't even know where I could get a good meatball sub where I am. But now I'm going to research.
We need to go road trip to McClanahan's. I'm sure they're still selling it.
Shout out McClanahan's. Need a sweatshirt for $8 on game day. Go to McClanahan's. What does that even mean?
You can buy cheap
$8 sweatshirts?
You can buy cheap clothes at McClanahan's too. Yeah.
It's
got a little bit of everything. It's like a convenience store.
Is it?
But it's a Penn State centric
ish.
It's like a cross between a very limited merchandise bookstore with a convenience store on the corner of I should remember the streets. It's on College Avenue.
Okay.
In State College.
All right. I think that's all the time we have. I am absolutely going to research where to get a meatball sub in the coming minutes. And look, Nick with an H. Love this run up to kickoff. Thanks. And thank you, Nick with an H. Thank you to everybody who watched the show. If you like the show, even if you love the show on a special day like today, which of course, Ty, is
Sheryl Crow Saturday.
Sheryl Crow Saturday.
Soak up the sun, baby.
Soak up that sun. You can go to verballers.com and subscribe to the show. That way you get the Sunday show on Sunday instead of Monday morning at 6 a.m. You get the preview show on Tuesday afternoon instead of Wednesday morning early. You get a bonus Brew and A show on Thursday afternoon. You get video access depending on the tier, and you get access to the Discord. You get access to early access. It's amazing. Early access to early access. Things like shirts, things like merch. We have a great time. We're in that Discord all day on game days and throughout the week. Couldn't have more fun there. And subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're so inclined. I love everything about that universe.
Daniel, it's always fun. We appreciate everybody making this little goofy stream part of their morning. Enjoy your week 9. Don't forget to call a reverb line throughout the course of the day. 408-VERBAL-1. Let us know what is on your mind. Otherwise, depending on, who you are, premium verballer, certified verballer, just regular verballer, we will talk to you at some point within the next 48 hours. For that guy over there, Dan Rubenstein, for myself, Ty Hildenbrandt. Enjoy your weekend. Stay solid. Soak up the sun.